Hey, day 37. Just meditated for a half an hour. I'm almost through my 2 hour commitment for today. Feeling a lot more focused, centered, cleared. The birds are chirping. I'm starting to interpret everything around me more positively. I don't feel as addicted or limited or worn down. Don't have as much baggage weighing me down. Because I was off center for a little bit. My ego was driving me hardcore yesterday. I didn't get that connection time in. Kept making excuses, and I had such a busy day, and I got exhausted. It was tough, but I made sure not to shame myself for it. It started to creep in, that old habit of shaming myself when something goes wrong and blaming myself, even if it's not really my fault or entirely my fault. Whenever someone's in conflict with themselves, there's only two ways they can go. One, it's the world's fault. Blame everything on the world. Second, or the second option, blame myself. I'm unworthy. I'm bad. It's my fault. World's fault or my fault? I'm one of those people that says it's my fault a lot. But I do know a lot of people that say it's the world's fault. Either way, there's something that needs to be realized in each person. So there's some kind of hang-up that they have where they need to disappropriate, if that's a word. They start assigning blame to the wrong person or thing. And then also they're putting the cause on something and that's it, and just writing it off. They're not really changing anything. Sometimes it's not so important to know why you're in a bad mood or why this is a certain way. Maybe it's not so important about why, but what next or how next is really the better question. Okay, I feel this way. What's next? What am I going to do about it? Now, let me obsess and try to figure out, why this is so I can feel better about it. We're constantly wanting to know answers rather than processes or how to move through something. We're constantly concerned about answers, black and white thinking, extreme thinking, and cause and effect. We're constantly obsessed with this. And this is very superficial, materialistic, external thinking. This is the way we used to be before we self-connected. We're trying to get out of that. We're trying to raise our awareness. Instead of going outside in, we're going inside out. I learned something in the past 24 hours. You can't change anything other than how you're looking at things and how you love yourself. Those are the only two things we have control over. How we perceive the world and ourselves, and how we love ourselves. How we perceive ourselves and the world, and how we love ourselves. Those are the only two things we can change. Those are the only two things. That is so powerful to know. If I would have known that at 14 years old, oh my gosh, that's just amazing. Can't change how someone else is, or how they're loving or not loving. Can't change the situations that the world comes to be. You can't change where you come from. You can't change the way you look to a certain extent. You can only change yourself from the inside out. If you change from the inside out, you have the best opportunity and the best hand to influence what's around you. But if you're going from the outside in, if you're trying to change your job, trying to change where you live, trying to change your car, who you hang out with, change this, change that, it's so superficial to the root of everything. It's indirect. I was always told in school, in geometry, that the shortest distance between 2 points from A to B is a straight line. When you change external things only, you're creating this mess of a line. You could be making all kinds of shapes over here. You could be making a circle, octagon, hexaplex. You're creating your own shapes to try to get to point B. And all point B is realizing or learning one thing about yourself to raise your awareness one notch, whatever it is. It's not very linear or bottom to top. But let's just say there's a lesson that you've already learned and you're trying to get to the next lesson. Changing all these external things is not going to get you there. That's not where it's at. It's really about looking within yourself, changing you from the inside out. It's a shame that this isn't being taught or society doesn't accept this yet, but they will, and we can be part of that change. We have the blessing and the opportunity in this generation to know how to be more aware of ourselves, our world, and the generations that came before, and the generations going to come. We have this age of information and awareness at our disposal to be used. I shouldn't say at disposal, because a lot of us are disposing it as if it's nothing, because we've been driven into that consumer mindset. Now let's get into the influencer mindset. Let's get into a growth mindset. I want to say that. Let's get into a growth mindset. We have the blessing, the opportunity, and the courage to be aware of our emotions and what came before us and what's going on around us and the emotions of others. Generations before didn't have the know-how or the time or the space, the information, whatever you want to call it, to know this stuff. The generations that came before were like, let's work. We got to put emotions aside. We got to work. We got to work. We got to put bread on the table. We got to stimulate this economy. There's jobs to be had. We got to work. We got to make money. And there's a lot of merit in that too. But it's also very damaging and traumatic. Our emotions were not meant to be shut off or ignored. And that has been a staple for the majority of the generations before. I'm not shaming them, and I'm not generalizing. This is what I'm observing and noticing. But now we have the opportunity to be aware of this stuff, to transcend this stuff, and expand and evolve as a people. And getting a grip on self-connection, meditation, mindfulness, empathy, therapy, psychology, being aware of this stuff and advocating it in our lives and being the change, that's the start of all that. We are at the forefront of that. And it's exciting. So when you follow your heart and allow your darkness just as much as you allow your light, is when you do great things. And you become the greatness that you already are. Let's do it. Will you join me? Stay sexy, Franians, and I'll see you soon.